Hey, everybody.
I don't know what is happening right now with Stugotz. He seems...
You are happening.
Darkly enraged. He came in for some reason because we were all stunned. $5.
The mic was off. $5 for you.
This is going to be a rough one today because he's somehow mad at us.
I'm not mad at anyone.
And all that's happened...
Tired of you.
What has happened here is Stugotz has yanked every schedule around the last 2 days.
I've yanked my schedule around. Go ahead.
We had to come in the middle of the morning yesterday.
Right.
Okay, look, I'm telling you, he's pissed at us, and this is my...
Let me be very clear. Jessica's here. Chris Whittingham is here. Chris Cote is here. Roy Bellamy is here. Tony is here, thankfully. I'm not certain if Lewis is here.
He is here.
Not mad at any single person in that room.
You're mad at me.
I'm not even mad at you.
You mad at Mike?
Debatable. Billy, definitely not mad at. And I'm not even mad at Dan. Now, I'm frustrated by Dan because what happens when I leave this studio and when I get back the next day, none of your business. You seem to think it is. But I come to work, I do my job, I deal with bullshit for the rest of the day that I don't need to deal with because I'm busy doing other stuff, like you posting personal emails of mine, but I'm not mad at you. I should be mad at you, but I am not.
Okay, so let's talk this out because I purposely wanted to take people totally behind the scenes here, and Stugotz and I have not talked since the last 2 days of chaos that have resulted in Jessica, Chris Cote, and I think Roy being totally stunned when Stugotz walked in here this morning because we all thought that he was going to end up wherever he was ending up with his personal time, which is none of my business, but has become our business, and in the last few weeks has altered our schedules because you're following the Grateful Dead, and we're trying to work around your schedule, everybody here, lovingly. And
work around my schedule? I go to Dead shows. Like, I have vacation time like everyone else. You should take one.
He's enraged.
You need one.
Stugotz, no one's saying don't take a vacation. It's just Tuesday you were leaving, and then yesterday you were leaving, and you're just still here. I don't think anyone's like, it's just odd.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like
I think.
Do you want to know the reason why I'm here? Like, do you really want to know the reason?
Yes, we'll get to it.
Why don't you tell them?
I want to set up for the audience what's happened this morning. You're spitting so much fire and no one knows why you might be mad at me, and I'd just like to set up for the audience. We are having our first conversation today in this very long marriage as Desus and Mero break up. We are having this first conversation of the day to find out what just happened that made Stugotz have to come in here on the air. And when Stugotz came in, I simply closed the door because I didn't want us to have interactions with each other until they were on the air so the audience could find out with us, like, what happened and why is Stugotz here. But when I closed the door in Stugotz's face, he muttered something that was pissed off. And he is mad at me because I made a mistake yesterday, and he sent me a record locator with his flight canceled from Fort Lauderdale. I thought I did the wrong thing. I thought I had permission to always make content that Stugotz never cares. He's always in on the joke. It's always funny.
And what was my response to that, by the way?
Look, man, I made a mistake, and I'm sorry. And
I know, but did I say
I
understood? Like, I understood what you were going for. I understood it. I get it. I'm okay with it. Didn't I say that to you?
Yeah,
yes.
But you just said that you were angry because I posted a personal email, and I'm mad.
No, that was just,
Okay, I'm mad at myself.
Gravy on top.
Okay, but I worry about Stugotz because his hamstrings are hurting. He's taking a lot of flights. I think he still thinks he's 24 years old, and his voice is cracking. And I simply worry about Stugotz because I love Stugotz, and so sometimes I probably annoy him being parental. But he's running hard.
I worry about you.
And I didn't understand what happened with his schedule yesterday. And I don't think anybody did. And
it kind of played out on the air, I mean.
Right, but when you didn't end up getting the flight from Fort Lauderdale to Chicago.
Yes.
And emailing or you're texting
Miami
me.
to Chicago.
What, any of the flights yesterday that you didn't get out to Chicago, nobody understood how it is that you didn't get out, and nobody understands how you're here today when you had the last 2 days off.
So, well, I did have the last 2 days off.
Or you were gonna be in Chicago. You were asking to do the show by Zoom from Chicago.
I was asking to do that. I don't know how in the weeds you want to get here, but I was asking to. That was the plan. This is a weird time in my life where there are certain things I need to go do. Now, it'd be easier if I could just go do them without you in my head, okay, and doing it with a clear head, but that doesn't seem possible, which that frustrates me. I'm not going to, I'm going to be honest with you. It does.
All right, well, let's.
Because I got to alter stuff. I can't do remotes. I have to be here on a, there's a lot of people off this week. And so I'm here.
You don't have to be here, though, Stugotz. You left in the middle of the show yesterday.
Do you know what it feels like to sit in a hotel room in the middle of nowhere knowing that you're not happy? Do you really know what that feels like? Because it feels shitty. So I'd rather not do that to someone I care about. That's it.
Stugotz, you're blaming me on this.
I'm not blaming you on anything.
Stugotz,
I'm annoyed right now.
It's the chemistry of the show that has nothing to do with why you missed 2 flights yesterday. Like, I don't know.
I missed 2 flights yesterday because I'm not terribly organized and I was high. I mean, what do you want from me?
And you were bragging on air. I can leave 60 minutes before, buddy. I got it down
I'm trying. As you're leaving, I'm sitting there telling you the valet's closed. You're going to miss your flight. Get out of here. I'm trying.
And I called back in later during Mike's show and I said, Dan was damn right about the valet, and it pissed me off. And then that threw my day into a tailspin. It threw my day into an absolute tailspin. And so to deal with what I was dealing with, which wasn't that much, okay, but to also have this, 6'4", pterodactyl on my shoulder, checking up on me, sending tweets out with record locators because I sent you a joke.
So you are mad
I mean,
at
the
that.
record. Well, you can get all my information from that.
Big pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl. I don't know why
You're
I chose
a writer.
that. It was weird. I know. Well, he is. That's
Quite
what he
visual.
is.
I'm picturing it.
Now, listen. I love
Wearing a flat
Dan.
brim.
Dan is a very, very good, caring friend. I'm saying this seriously, but you can't. Like, we're now 20 years into this. Like, that part of it can be annoying, and it wears on me sometimes. And so occasionally I'm going to come in and I'm going to be in a bad mood, and I'm going to spit fire at you, and I'm going to continue to do it for the remainder of the day.
Okay, that probably isn't the best way to do this show, but if
Maybe for the next 5 minutes.
I do,
Maybe the next minute.
I was hoping that we would get the comedy out of what happened to
my
your
lighter.
day yesterday.
Came back for the lighter. We got the joke. There it is. All right.
Got a blue one.
Oh, nice.
I needed stress eaters.
I will ask the audience, should Stugotz do the show on remote? Because I'd be happy to do it on I'd be happy to do it on remote if it wasn't terrible every goddamn time you're on remote because you can't get your technology right and we can't get our
Witty's
chemistry
fault.
right and then the show suffers and guess who gets blamed? It's not you. It ain't you. Because you get to do the winning around here. It's all set up so you can do the winning.
Yeah, but you know what? It's me. So, like, I know I'm set up to do the winning, but I'm going to say it again. I don't think you're aware of what it's like to be somewhere and know that you're not happy and know that you're disappointed and you can't be here to talk to you and kind of get you through it. Like that for me after 20 years of doing this, because I know how much you care about the show. I know how much you care about me. That part hurts. It hurts me that we can't figure out how to do a goddamn remote around
Stugotz,
here.
but that's not our fault. It tends to be yours because you can never get the timing and technology right. Like,
Okay, so it's my fault.
no, but there it is. Like, I'm protecting the show, not myself, Stugotz. Like,
Right.
whether you're here or not, we'll do the show. It's
Listen.
more fun always, and it's better when you're here, period.
My bad.
For me, it's a bottom line. It's always better when you're here, period, hard stop. Now, you want to live your life elsewhere on remote, I understand, but the show's going to suffer, and my allegiance has to be to the audience there because this is the business.
I understand that. Have you and I not been aligned on what's the best form of this show and what's best for the audience for 20 years?
You're mad at me today because you couldn't do the show the last 2 days from somewhere else, and I'm trying to get the comedy out of you couldn't get there is the reason you weren't able to do it. You couldn't fly there correctly because you're Stugotz. Like, I'm trying to get the comedy out of it, and a lifetime of resentment is coming out because we're Jesus and Marrow.
You said it, not me.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
While we're airing out grievances here,
Hey, everybody.
I got. That's just how I say hello. What are you guys talking about?
I
You're so
thought we were
cute.
like Cody saying it.
If
not
I was in a
you.
better mood, I'd come hug you. I mean,
Baby. While we're airing grievances, I got a bone to pick with Witty. All right,
What?
Witty said one of the most ridiculous things in the show's history yesterday, and nobody checked him on it, including myself. I was listening back, and he just said it in passing like it was fact, and it's absurd. He said every NFL team's current kicker is their best kicker in history. I mean, I don't know if you want to play the game. You name a team, and you tell me who you think is their best kicker, because I'll tell you who it is. I'll tell you one thing. Neil Rackers would like a word with you, my friend.
Martin Grammatica would
Yeah.
like a word. No,
Nate Kading has some beef with what you were saying yesterday.
Morton Anderson.
if you just look at it by percent, I was looking. I just did it off the
David
Dolphins.
Akers would like a word with you, my friend.
How far back do you have to go before Whittingham's point doesn't get diluted? His larger point is everything that's today is the biggest and the strongest and the best and the most accurate, but that's probably not true from the kicker 4 years
Have
ago.
you ever heard of Greg Zuerlein?
exactly. I
could
would
try.
say you can go back as far as Mark Mosley winning the MVP. Like
Mark,
that's it.
that by the way, that Mark Mosley season was shit. It wasn't even
I know.
go look at his
Whittingham,
football reference.
knock it
Go
off.
look
It
at his
was.
football reference
It
page.
was shit.
It was
He
not
meant like
that good of a
18
kicking
20
season.
or something.
You're saying today's kicker for the Guardians, is it? Is it the
Commander,
football
the
team?
Commanders.
The
No,
Commander,
the
who is
Guardians
it?
currently play
Is
baseball.
that a fine? Here's a dollar here.
Stugotz is not. He's the racially insensitive name. Stugotz is
Commandos.
having a hard time with the ones
Guardian,
in
and they
Cleveland
keep
and
changing.
Washington.
I did a
Dollar.
I-
You're telling me their kicker today is better than Mark Mosley, a Hall
I
of
did
Famer?
a deep dive. I literally have every team right here, and I have every team's best kicker of all time. Mark Mosley is the best Commanders kicker of all time,
you-
statistically. All right? I don't give a shit who's
No,
their
is
kicker
he?
now.
What was his most valuable player season? What was it when you say his numbers? I feel like this is the third time we've done the. How did Mark Mosley win the MVP?
Well, you just
award?
asked how
July.
far back you can go, and I think that it's right there. A kicker won an MVP.
No,
Like that
but
guy's
I-
better
I-
than any kicker they have
no,
today.
but he's not.
But he is.
He was 20 of 21 that season from field goal range. However, he missed 3 extra points.
Oh.
Back when the extra
That's
point used to
weird.
be on the 2-yard line.
What were his longs though? Was he someone who could easily
Hell
go
yeah.
from 50?
No, his long that season was 48.
And what's the long of today's kicker?
It's like 63. It was
knock it
Matt
off.
Prater,
67
Matt
now,
Prater
isn't
hit
it?
from 66, I think, for Arizona.
I think it's 67
Mark
now.
Mosley's career field goal percentage was 65.6%.
You just referenced Matt Prater. He's the best Lions kicker of all time, not the current one. I literally looked at every team's history of
but
kicking.
Matt Prater is an active kicker.
But he's not for the Lions.
I know.
You said every team's current kicker is their best kicker in history. You said it.
I think
He's
he's
right.
saying. I think he's saying
right.
whoever their kicker now is better than their last generation's kicker.
And I'm telling
Right.
you,
No, that's
whoever
not
the
what he
Lions
said, though.
kicker
Okay.
is now,
All right.
not better than Matt Prater. I can tell you, I have 4 teams that currently right now have their best kicker in NFL history. He said every team, it's 4. The Ravens. Even though Matt Stover would like a little bit
come
of a
on.
word.
Stop it with
but
Matt.
Justin
Justin
Tucker, I will
Tucker's the
give
greatest
you
kicker
Justin
of all
Can we
Tucker.
time.
guess? Can we try and guess on that one? Just
Yeah.
on reputation, can we take guesses on the 4? Because the Cowboys are one of them, right?
No. The Cowboys' best kicker of all time is Dan Bailey. He's not their current kicker.
It's Raphael Seption. That's who it is. Look him up. Seriously. One of the great kickers of all time. Dan knows who I'm talking about.
Yes, it's one of the great
great
names
kicker-
too. But go look at his stats. Go look at Raphael
No,
Seption.
don't do that.
No, this was again another one of these guys. He's got a foreign name. He's a soccer style kicker. His name is Raphael Seption, and I trust him even though I probably shouldn't because he'll make 14 of 23 field goals in a season.
Wait, okay. So he was career 72%. He actually is the all-time leader for field goal attempts by a Cowboys kicker with 226. But he made 72% of them. The aforementioned Dan Bailey made 88% of his kicks.
Are we gonna guess the other 3? I know one.
And I'm being nice with one of them, by the way. Because Ryan Suckup would like a word.
Ooh, wow.
Give me the Raphael Septien. Give me some of those seasons there on what it is that old Septi did to be someone that Stugotz longs
Raffy.
for after all of these years. Yes, Jessica, go ahead and take your guess.
Smetty, you guessing?
Harrison Butker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ryan Suckup, like that was close. That was a debate for me, but I'll give that. The Chiefs, I did put Harrison Butker.
Nick Folk.
Nope. Nick Folk was actually the best kicker for the Jets.
No, he wasn't.
Or Pat Leahy.
You're doing this by
Pat
percentage.
Leahy is the greatest kicker in Jets history.
Okay, it's close. I'm telling you. You look in the
Okay.
numbers. It's
All right.
Nick Folk and him. It's
Okay.
Mike Vanderjagt for me.
He's good.
Mike Vanderjagt and Adam Vinatieri are the Colts' best kickers of all time, not their current kicker. I mean, are you ready to take the L here?
Adam Vinatieri, I'll give you. Adam Vinatieri is an all-time legend.
Blankenship is blanking shit. All right, let me tell you that much.
So the Dolphins' current kicker, I
Wordplay.
believe, is their best kicker of all time, Jason Sanders.
you got it.
That's the reason why I said it.
Lindo Mare would like a word.
Oh, come on, dude.
Lindo Mari was
Be
not
better than that.
He was not better than Jason Sanders. How are you doing? Are you doing this by percentage, or are you
I'm
doing
doing
this by
this-
how you feel?
By greatness.
Oh, stop it!
I'm doing this by
Stop
career
it.
points. I'm doing this
Stop
by
it.
career
All right,
points.
maybe
I'm
I'm
doing this by most points accumulated with those teams.
So you're-
no, it's
No, that's not the
no,
way to
that's
do
not
it.
you do
That's
it.
how
by
I do it.
percentage.
That's their job, is to get points.
This is a Chris Cody advanced metric.
Mason
Don't question
Crosby.
No, but
is
you're
a
doing
current,
this wrong.
He's a
the current-
current.
right.
He's
Doing it
I
by
agree with
points?
that.
What?
Right.
That's absurd.
I think I'm with
points,
Chris.
please.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you
it's
got it.
accuracy.
What's Chris?
It's got to be based
Accuracy,
on what
please.
I want some of those Raphael Septien seasons because
So you're saying Blankenship is the best ever with the Colts, better than
What-
Adam Vinatieri?
What's his percentage?
I
What's
don't
his
give a
percentage?
shit what his
Of course-
percentage is.
That's what
It's Adam bleeping Vinatieri. Have some respect.
he was better with the Patriots than he was
Vinatieri's
with
last
the Colts.
season was shite.
Are you
Vinatieri's
telling
last
me-
season with the
Yeah,
Colts
his
was
last
terrible.
season when he's 74.
I know,
Right.
but it counts against his percentage.
But today's kicker for the Patriots is better than Adam Vinatieri.
I don't know.
Folk.
I'm
I
gonna
mean, you
look
knocked it
up.
off. He's won
It's
6
an
Super
old Nick
Bowls.
Folk.
I mean,
What are we doing with Chris Boswell here?
Boz.
He on
Gary
your
Anderson
list?
would like a word.
Why would all these people like a word?
they have beef.
Yeah, they don't have words. They
You know
haven't been
what?
talking.
I'm not going over there to get any of those words. Like what? So the room that you have me going into of kickers, this cocktail party.
Graham Gano would like a word.
Nick Folk, by the way, who is the current Patriots kicker, is their best kicker of all time.
No, he's not.
He's made.
You know better. You know better.
Gostkowski!
Yeah.
Adam Vinatieri, you fool!
Nick Folk has made 91% of his field goals
please.
with the Patriots. Goskowski was at 87.
Do it in the Super Bowl.
Vinatieri was at 82.
How many though has he attempted? Do we have a baseline that it has
I
to
don't
be
know.
a certain amount?
I would say it's a
He's
minimum.
7 for 8.
It's a minimum of 2 seasons for me, I would say. So Nick Folk has had 3 seasons with the Pats. He's 76 of 84 all-time field goal for
Who's
the
the-
New England Patriots.
Who's the Bucks kicker right now? Martine Gramatica would like a word.
How about the Cowboys?
What you said was ridiculous.
Who is the former Florida State kicker that they took early? I thought he was going to
Scott Bentley?
Roberto Aguayo. I thought he was
yeah.
going to be the best kicker of all
Why do
time.
you bring up FSU? Who's the Raiders' best kicker of all time?
Their current one.
Carl-
Sebastian Janikowski would like a word.
That's a good name, man.
I want to go back further than Chris every time.
Raphael Septien, by the way, his first season with the Cowboys was 16 of 26 from field goal range, 61.5%. Raphael Septien in a season missed 4 extra points. This again before they moved it.
No one. He's not asking for a word though.
There was an 11 of 17 season in there. There was a 19 of 28 season in there.
So no Chris Boynell.
This is just us saying funny kicker names.
That's great.
That's all,
Yes,
that is. That's all
By the way,
it is.
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' current kicker is Ryan Suckup. He's their best kicker of all time by percentage. What? Yeah, were you gonna put Connor
Barth would like a word. By the way, Robbie Gold, the best kicker in all time for 2 franchises. 49ers
fact.
and
Bears
the
and
Bears.
Niners.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
all timer.
Yeah. Kevin
But he's not the
Butler would
Bears.
like a word.
Not the Bears' current kicker though, Chris. So that's a point to you, Cody.
I am not necessarily the current thing is the best thing guy, but on kicking, it's quantifiable. It's quantifiable how much better we have gotten at field goal kicking.
I named I mean, obviously I'm being ridiculous with some of these, but it's not every team. Like
It's most of the teams.
Wait a
Greg
minute, though.
Zuerlein was around like 5 years ago. Like he's got like kickers 5 years ago can be like, I get you. In the 70s, they're kicking 47 yarders is like their
But
longest.
what is the line? I do like this as a sports conversation because it's one of the dumbest ones we have all the time comparing athletes across
Even
a generation.
Hauschka would like a word.
You can keep doing that if you want for the rest of the show. If you want to just
It's
name
fun. I
Bill
tried
Dawson
it
over there.
once. You
funny,
should try it.
funny
Yeah.
kicker names, you can do for the rest of time.
You mentioned the Rams. Greg Zuerlein, 82% with the Rams. Current kicker, Matt Gay, 92% with the Rams over 2 seasons.
I have tried.
They cut him.
I will never get this conversation off the ground because Stugotz always clips it before I can. But at some point, we're going to have this conversation, and we're going to laugh at Michael Jordan the way we do now at Bob Cousy.
No, we're not.
You cut it off there every time I have it.
We'll
but
never laugh at
I know,
Michael Jordan. No, we will never laugh at Michael
I
Jordan.
can never
Yeah.
have the conversation, but the way we make fun of Babe Ruth would strike out 1,000 times against Clayton Kershaw
Right.
if they faced each other 1,000 times. At some point, and I don't know how many years it has to be, it'll be that for Michael Jordan also. And when it comes to kickers, I ask you genuinely, I don't know how we do this empirically. You're doing it mathematically. You're doing it by percentage. But at what point do I have to go back and I can say of kickers, this version of them is so good at this and perfecting it that this is the best crop across the league? Because he's not that wrong. He's wrong in a couple of instances, but he's ultimately not going to be that wrong. He's gonna get 10 wrong or 12 wrong, but at some point it'll be 0.
I do think the difference between the Michael Jordan example and the Bob Cousy example is racial integration. I feel like that's an important thing to factor into the into the conversation, but I do think that basketball already looks so much different than modern basketball that I wonder in 30 years' time, once we continue to look back at that footage, it's just like, wait, the entire paint was crowded the entire time? He didn't make threes? What is that?
What they'll look back at is him dunking on Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
I mean, knock it off.
It's the name too. Bob Cousy just sounds like a goofy name.
The thing, though, with Stugotz and the Michael Jordan obsession is that because this revolution happened right in front of our eyes mathematically, and Steph Curry is better at a more valuable shot and is the best ever at a most valuable shot, and we didn't know, like, the sport just changed right in front of us. If Curry wins a title or two, or even if he doesn't, we may look back on this time as, oh, Steph Curry was better than Michael Jordan.
No, we won't.
I know.
Right.
But we might. You
No
know what I
one
mean?
will.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, you might in your room by yourself, but no one else will.
I know,
Right.
but when you do,
I'll be out with the regular folk. We'll be all talking about Michael Jordan being the greatest player to ever play.
But if I wanted
have fun
to,
with your Curry conversation.
if I wanted to have the viral conversation about who's a better player, because everyone's doing their top 50 lists on rankings of best players of all time, and Steph's still playing.
Right.
Like, and Steph quiet,
4.
he can win more.
Yeah, Stu, seriously, what happens if he gets to 7? I believe his NBA Finals record is 4-2 at the moment.
4-2, yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets to 7. What do you mean? With 7 titles, he's
Yeah.
7-2 in the NBA Finals.
If he doesn't lose again,
yeah,
if
Michael
he
was
ju-
6 for 6.
But if he just keeps winning, if
Right.
he keeps, like, if he
So
keeps,
so Steph is penalized for making 2 more than Michael
well,
Jordan. Or
7
3 more?
minus 2 is 5. A 6 minus 6 is 0. But it's still 6, if you know what I mean.
But Michael Jordan missed the finals in all of the other seasons that we're talking about.
The
He
seasons
didn't
leading
even
up
make
until
it.
he won 6. No, that's because he left basketball. He would have had 8. So, I mean, think about it that way.
Josh Scobie would like a word. Who's the Jags kicker right now?
I don't know, but I guarantee you when I look up his percentage, it will be better
The
than
guy that-
Josh
It's the guy that
Scobie's.
Urban Meyer kicked,
Baby
isn't
Lambo or
it?
something? I knew Jess would like that one.
Stugotz
Again, Josh Lambo, current kicker, 92% from field goals.
First of all, I see
Josh
their depth
Scobie,
chart.
81%.
I don't even think he's on their team anymore. As far
Looks
as I'm
like he only
I mean,
has
he-
18
I-
attempts, though.
I believe he is suing them. No,
everybody's suing
Josh
everybody
Lambo
now.
has 83 attempts.
All right, I can't see.
It's
which
Scobie.
side.
Best
No, it's
kicker
not.
ever.
It's
It's
not.
Scobie.
It's not
Thank
Kai
you.
Forbath.
Stugotz gets it.
It's not Mike Hollis. It's not John Carney.
John Carney.
Hardy.
Jason Elam would like a word.
Matt Prater is the best kicker in Broncos history. I'm not having that.
Joe Netney.
do you know how funny it is?
It's Rich Carlos.
to
He played with Elway, and he would like a word.
He was the barefoot one, right?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
In the colds. That's
Yeah.
how you do it.
By the
Get
way,
over yourself. We're
Yeah.
Fun
shooting.
fact, Ryan Longwell, the second best kicker in 2 organizations ever. Poor guy.
What, Packers and Vikings?
Yeah. Fred Cox, man.
Why do I know that?
You said the phrase and just skipped right past it. I don't think he's on the team anymore. I think he's suing them.
Yeah.
Which is just great. I mean, I don't think we should just skip past the kicker, and you don't get a lot of that generally. As Steph Curry ends up hosting with a drink the ESPYs last night, Stugotz, and as people end up getting upset as they are wont to do all the time here over silly things because Klay Thompson wins Comeback Player of the Year instead of Trey Mancini, the designated hitter for the Orioles, because Thompson overcame an Achilles and a knee, and Mancini overcame cancer. Mm-hmm. And people get upset about that as the Golden State Warriors take over the ESPYs last night. And I'm pretty sure, I think I have this right, it's pretty common knowledge, I think, that Klay Thompson gets the ESPY because Klay Thompson said he'd show up. Like, I think, like, you want
Really?
Klay Thompson at your party. I don't, like, these aren't Oscars. Like, I don't know. I thought.
I imagine they have to, like, they ask the athlete, hey, we're going to give you this award. Will you show up? Like, I would presume that they have to clear that with the winning athlete. Otherwise, they might not show.
So you're
I mean,
saying,
Shohei Ohtani didn't show up.
right?
I think
he's busy.
for the
No?
most part though, Witty
Yeah, they won't.
is right. Speaking from
So they call
experience.
Clay and say, "Hey, you're going to win this award. Will you show
Will you
up?"
come?
And if he
Yeah.
says no, they go to the next
Do
guy.
we know that, or we're just assuming?
I've been in rooms where that's happened with awards.
You've been in rooms where that's happened.
I don't want to name names, but like
Accepted on behalf.
that's how that happens a lot of times.
I'd go a step further and assume, since we're assuming, can you play the reckless speculation sounder here? Because I don't know. I assume this was common knowledge.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
I assumed that they called Clay, hey, will you come? We'll give you this award. Like, if you come, and if you don't come, we'll give it to somebody else. You're not getting the award if you don't come.
I also imagine, though, that was such a Warriors-centric night with Steph hosting. Draymond did a bit where he was podcasting during the award show that I imagine it was probably a fun night for the Warriors to be there.
But I wanted to ask you about Steph seriously. As Stugotz, I think it's brave for Steph to get up there with a drink and crack jokes that stuff is hard. And
I was surprised to see him do it.
he
Yeah.
decided to do it on a slow night. But in the conversation that we've been having this week, where I've been telling you where it comes to Kershaw and LeBron, that we're always comparing them to ghosts. They're not good enough. No matter what the excellence is, even if it seems unprecedented or best we've ever seen, there's somebody who was better in the past. Steph just answered the last question. Steph is adorable. He has changed the game. He's the face of the league. Steph fought LeBron for a decade for the sport, for the championships in the sport.
Yep.
And that team, Joe Lacob was just fined $500,000 on the Andre Iguodala podcast, Point Forward, brought to you by Meadowlark Media, because Joe Lacob said some things about collective bargaining and finding the luxury tax unfair. The Golden State Warriors, I think the salary cap is like $123 million, and I think they paid in luxury tax $180 million. They paid much more. The Warriors don't care about the luxury tax. They're one of the few teams that don't. They have an advantage. They have the best player
By not caring about
who makes
that.
threes, and they have an advantage that is sizable, money advantage, arena advantage. It's why Lacob says light years ahead, and he laughs at your $500,000 fine. He'll talk about whatever the bleep he wants to talk about.
And if he can even get the NBA to move slightly on the luxury tax, then it will have been worth the $500,000 that he just paid.
Stugotz, Steph Curry has a built-in advantage, and some people have mentioned the idea, whether it can happen or not, of Kevin Durant going there. But there is a possibility that not merely does Steph Curry become an unprecedented player for his size, not merely does he become somebody who changes the way the entire sport is played in a way that Michael Jordan didn't quite.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But he also becomes somebody, if he wins more championships, we will not have appreciated the greatness correctly as it happened, because it will then become an argument of, oh, shit. This guy we might have seen as the whole sport changed, the guy who spun it on his finger was kind of Michael Jordan. Like, however it is, he wasn't hitting defensively or anything else. He wasn't in a social media age. He couldn't be, but he'll be the modern day Michael Jordan in a way that LeBron wasn't, because LeBron didn't change the game like that, where you realize the thing that he did better than anyone in the history of the sport was worth more points than what Michael Jordan and LeBron were doing.
But Steph, so I think what's going to work against, I understand what you're saying, if he gets to 7, if he gets in that territory, I think what works against Steph a little bit is he was already on an all-time great team, won a championship, and then that recruitment of Kevin Durant, like winning the titles with Kevin Durant, Jordan didn't want Barkley around. Like, he was fine. I got Scotty, that's enough. Like, people are going to use that against Steph.
And that's fine, and that will be your grandpa's take on how you say my time was better. But I'm saying we're living the time.
I'm actually talking at the take I'm going to give to my grandchildren. Yes, that's what I'm doing right now.
And you'll be able to make the argument, but it's at some point, Michael Jordan will age out of this conversation, whether it's 10 years, 30 years. You say he won't, but at some point, somebody's going to come and get it, or are we just going to have them all playing ghosts for the rest of time, where Steph Curry's never going to be allowed to be good enough because it's always going to be the memory of the undefeated GOAT Michael Jordan who had the 9-part documentary?
I think there will have to be someone who wins on that level, that 100% record in the finals that always gets tossed around, where you are the best player in the league, undisputedly. You go win the championship. You're the finals MVP. You're the best player. You make the clutch shot every single time. And Michael Jordan did not make the clutch shot every single time, but in our memory, he did. And he never struggled in a playoff series in our memory. But he did. He struggled at times in playoff series.
I remember all that, though.
I know his career is not perfect, but when people talk about Michael Jordan, that is not factored into the consideration. There was no struggle. There was no imperfections at all when people who love and admire and revere Michael Jordan talk about him. And
Jessica, what are you rolling your eyes
I don't
about?
think that's true. I think that's all part of his story, too. That's what made him so interesting at the time.
Yes.
Was that he quit for a year.
I really do think that Michael Jordan is viewed to such a degree that he was perfect. He never made mistakes. That
the memory is undefeated.
Correct.
The memory of Michael Jordan loses to no one.
If he hadn't retired 2 times, he would have won 8 straight championships.
But he would have.
But we don't know because he
would have.
But he quit for a year and a half. So
but I do know. I was there. I was watching it, and I know what would have happened.
I was there.
Like Elijah Wan never won titles when Jordan was playing.
I was
and then
in
he
Chicago
won 2.
Stadium.
I mean, no one won titles because Michael was hogging them all up. I mean, that's it.
But we've seen.
I mean, Dan would tell you. I'm sorry. I know Dan doesn't like to do this, but if Jordan doesn't quit basketball, he wins 8 consecutive NBA championships.
What I don't
and
like,
Dan knows it.
Say it, Dan.
Say it one time.
I know it.
Say it. Somebody. You know it.
It is peak July sports radio.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, man.
Dog days.
Nugent would like a word. McPherson is pretty good.
Yeah.
Evan McPherson.
Stugotz, the Trey Lance era has begun, it would appear, in San Francisco. The same agent for Tom Brady, Don Yee, who represents Jimmy Garoppolo, they are now allowed to seek a trade. Jimmy Garoppolo, it would appear, would be done in San Francisco. And Matt Lombardo is reporting that a team to watch for Jimmy Garoppolo, who's expensive, is the Miami Dolphins. This didn't make very much sense to me.
Why?
Even as McDaniel is somebody who comes from that system, because I don't happen to believe that Garoppolo expensive is better than Tua cheap if I'm going to surround them with an offense. I believe that next year Tua can be at least Garoppolo.
Yeah, but what if Tua gets hurt? Like, I think this team is built to have, some playoff aspirations.
You knock out Bridgewater. You knock out Bridgewater for Garoppolo to have to pay a backup $18 million or however much, or $30 million or whatever it is you're going to have to pay him. Like, I would not believe that Garoppolo would be of interest to the Dolphins. I would believe. Does anyone out there think that Garoppolo would be a better choice than Tua? Because Garoppolo was smoke and mirrors in San Francisco. I think everyone listening to this agrees with, he was okay and they were a play from the Super Bowl, but I don't believe he was the reason they got to the Super Bowl. I believe they successfully hid him the entire time. And whatever hope you have in McDaniel this season, sight unseen, because you don't know. He's just the guy next to the guy. Mm-hmm. Shanahan has done this everywhere. McDaniel hasn't. If you think this is a transferable skill that McDaniel can hide anyone the way they hid Garoppolo, then better to hide Tua cheap than hide Garoppolo expensive.
Right. Just Jimmy has led worse teams than this. Now, you could debate how big of a part of the
worse
equation.
teams than this?
I think that Niners team a couple of years ago, offensively, I don't know, Tariq Hill's here, Waddle's here. They have good running backs. The running back that was there is now here.
They also had an unbelievable defense that season too, San Francisco.
They did offensively, though. I think he's probably Gesicki.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of similar. I know they have Kittle.
Well,
Like,
who do you think is better, Stugotz? Just let's do it this way. Garoppolo is viewed as a system quarterback. Garoppolo is available because they drafted a kid young, a real prospect, because none of us had really heard of him, played wherever it was, North Dakota or one of these weirdo, just a school that no great number one pick ever comes out of.
Right.
And they've decided to invest their future in somebody who's got more physical gifts, more measurables than Jimmy Garoppolo. But I don't believe that most people listening to this want Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're probably
no matter
right.
who your team is, if I tell you the best you can do for an expensive quarterback, what you're getting is Jimmy Garoppolo, you must be some kind of quarterback desperate if that gives you a huge amount of hope.
He's the face of middle-of-the-road quarterback, right? If you have Jimmy G, you have a guy that you kind of want to get a better one, but he's not terrible, which is not a guy, like, to your point, you don't want to, like, that's not a guy you want to bring in as the answer. If he's like a fallback guy,
it's not an answer. It's an expensive fallback.
That's what I
so
mean.
I understand what Dan's saying, but we don't know what Tua is. That's the problem.
You can't pay that much for a backup. Like
You're
that,
right.
He's got to be your starter.
I would have to imagine that in order to
hold on.
No, but to get a better draft pick, I think the 49ers are going to eat a large portion of that salary.
Right.
They'll probably take on, if there's $18 million left, they'll take on $13 million so they can get a third or a fourth round pick for him, like the Dolphins did with Tannehill.
I think Garoppolo was the highest paid quarterback in the sport. It might be even more than that, and I don't think you're going to get the Baker Mayfield deal. I was making up the $18 million number. I don't know what the number is on Garoppolo, and I don't know how much the 49ers would take on Garoppolo.
We'll look it up and see, but I do think that the Niners will eat at least a portion of that contract, and I don't know, can you take on that salary for a backup if you're paying Tua on a rookie deal
let's get some of the details on what the numbers are.
The team acquiring Jimmy Garoppolo, wherever that would be on the hook for 24.4 with a roster bonus of $800K. So it's like almost 25 mil to have Jimmy on your roster.
If San Francisco pays nothing. If San Francisco covers none of it. So in the Mayfield deal, Cleveland paid $18 million to make Baker go away. Carolina is getting Baker for $4 million. These numbers end up mattering when you're dealing with a salary cap sport. Nobody is going to pay a giant amount of money for Jimmy Garoppolo to be a backup. If you're going to pay Jimmy Garoppolo big money, it's got to be a starter. But I don't think people are going to pay Jimmy Garoppolo big money. I think people are going to only take him cheap. Jessica, are you so desperate in Pittsburgh that you would take yourself some Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, we don't need him anymore. We got Mitch Trubisky, who's going to be starting
God.
season in week one, and he's going to be training Kenny Pickett to be a good quarterback. So I have all the faith in the world in those two.
Do you really? In your
faith
heart
in
of
the
heart,
world?
like
all the faith in the world.
How could you?
Mitchell Trubisky? Come on, like
It's Tomlin, right? It's
If you're
Tomlin.
offered the chance, if you're offered the chance to go get Garoppolo, and you're currently sitting on Trubisky or even whatever the Seahawks are going with this season, they have to be interested in making that offer. I saw the Falcons are in for him as well.
No, I don't think the Steelers are.
Really?
Jessica,
they just drafted a quarterback in the first round that they probably will expect to start at the start of next season.
Does your fandom infect your analysis?
My fandom infects everything that I do, everything that I eat, how I sleep, how I breathe, what I think about, how I dream.
You cannot analyze your quarterback. Once Trubisky signs,
I can't analyze a ham sandwich without having some sort of partisan feeling towards the Steelers.
Jack Ham.
Thank you. Yes.